Dunc and Older on a Thursday, March 22nd. The band's back together again. I'm back in studio with Jeff Duncan, Clyde Verdan, Dave DeCourbier back at iHeart Central. So much to talk about. Even there's a trade for a pass rusher within the NFC South. Sorry, people. Sorry.
Sad trombone.
Jason Pierre-Paul heading to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He will be looking to go Sacktown on Drew Brees, and yet I think they got a pretty good offensive line. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And I know yesterday you guys were talking about one Willie Snead.
We did.
I figured at some point in time some team would have some sort of interest in him. So I'm curious to see where that goes. Look, we got plenty of other things to talk about. Yesterday at the visitation, we had a chance to catch up with Dennis Lauscha, and it was the first time he spoke at length publicly. So we will hear what he had to say about just how much Tom Benson meant to him, the state of the franchise, which he had some at-length answers. I'm going to apologize right off the bat. Some of it's a little windy in the background, but it's certainly still audible, so we're going to play it anyway. And if not, oh well, just your ears will bleed and a little bit. So anywho, but we'll have that. And of course, Jeff, we're going to touch on two things you absolutely love.
Yes.
Outdoors and horse racing. Who we got as guests?
What could be better? This is the greatest show in Duncan Holder history. I'm going on record. Look, we got Todd Masson, Marshman Masson, on at 10:30 to kind of talk a little fishing as we have this great bluebird sky. You know, it's funny is people think that when you have this great weather like we have right now, that, oh, my gosh, the fishing must be great. When actually I think, and we'll talk to Todd about it, I think days like today they call it bluebird skies. It's bad for fishing.
So great weather means bad for fishing?
Well, I'll get him to clarify, but I think
it's not great.
It's too great.
Yeah.
That makes
it's
sense.
almost too perfect.
So the fish take a vacation and they drift away.
Something along those lines. We'll ask Todd about it, and we'll get to the bottom of it. But Todd will give us his latest. He's got a great video up if you're into fishing on NOLA.com of top water action, which, as I quoted Tim Floyd once, the three greatest things in life: one, top water bites in bass fishing; two, your first kiss with a new girl. It's always the first kiss with a new woman.
Wait, what?
Or your significant other, I should say. And the third one is a road win. So those are the three greatest pleasures in life.
Which ones did Tim Floyd have most?
I don't know. I'm sure. Listening to stories about him
He
fishing.
didn't have a lot of road wins, man.
He fished a lot.
Not with the Hornets. He didn't have too many road
sure.
wins.
Not with the Bulls either. Remember, he took over the
Bulls,
Michael
yeah.
Jordanless Bulls.
Maybe more with UNO than any of them.
Yeah.
Way back when.
I'd say so. And look, he's long time married, so I think it's probably topwater bass, maybe. I don't know.
He should get him on the boat, Todd. We ought to make that pitch to him. Because what's Tim Floyd doing now? He's retired. Right?
Yeah, he's retired. Matter of fact,
He's taking out at Pell's games, man. He's sitting courtside.
Well, doesn't he live in the same community as Jim Henderson?
yeah, he lives in Poplarville, Mississippi, but I talked to him recently, and he and his wife were actually going away for a while. They weren't going to be back till probably later this month, so I'm going to connect with him to get a column out of it. But we will ask Todd about that, if he agrees with that assessment. I think we did last time he was on the show. And then also in the top of the hour at 11 o'clock, we're going to talk to Joe Christofek from the fairgrounds about the big day on Saturday, Louisiana Derby Day. It's a big day in horse racing for the fairgrounds, for all of Louisiana. It's the biggest race in Louisiana, $1 million. And the winner and probably second place finisher both will go on to the Kentucky Derby. It's a great field. And GMB Racing, Tom and Gail Benson's stable, will have a entry, Lone Sailor. And tomorrow we'll have on the trainer of Lone Sailor, Tom Amos, to kind of break down Lone Sailor and also the field for the Louisiana Derby. So 2 days of horse racing on Duncan Holder.
Just to really even usurp that, I'm going to now work to see if I can get the NOLA rugby head coach on tomorrow just to usurp this.
Wait, what?
What's going on here?
Seriously, I don't know about NOLA rugby? The NOLA Gold?
No, we do know that because we did get emails about it.
Nice. I think we should try to get the head coach on tomorrow. They're going to be covered on CBS Sports, man.
After watching,
they're playing at Shaw.
Wait, they have a cable?
Yes, they have a
TV deal.
Yes, they do with CBS Sports. In fact, I think their second game at home, which they play out at because Shaw has a new field or something close
Yeah,
to
they
it.
do play at Archbishop Shaw. That's the word on the street.
So they have a television deal with CBS Sports next, and I think their second home game of the year is going to be on CBS Sports
When does the season start?
tomorrow. It's either tomorrow or Saturday at 2:00. They're hosting the team from Houston. I think it's the Houston SaberCats.
They even have mascot names.
Yeah.
Sabercats. That's lame.
What's
What a
here?
lame
What
name.
is this? Louisiana, New Orleans?
Yeah,
What
it's just NOLA Gold. The
Just
NOLA Gold.
NOLA Gold.
Yeah, NOLA Gold rugby.
Okay. No, like Rougarou.
No.
Somebody needs to step up and be the Rougarou.
I don't think anybody needs to step up and be a.
You would know about
character.
the Rougarou.
Yeah, no, I don't think anybody needs to step up to be a fictitious creature that lives in the swamps.
And how would you know that?
Because I'm from the swamps.
Oh, he's embracing his roots.
Now he's in.
Yeah,
Now
now
he's all
then,
in
yeah.
on the swamps.
I was about to say you should let me tell you the story about Johnny Weissmuller and shooting Tarzan, parts of Tarzan in Morgan City.
I don't even
we
know
did
where
that.
we're going here.
Exactly.
This is crazy.
When did do you still have to smuggle books into Morgan City?
No. They let them read them full on now.
Okay.
Yeah,
books
but
are-
now
are
granted,
a thing
there's some that they just look at you and they shake their finger at.
I got you. Well, by the way, we'll have Joe Christofek on at 11 o'clock, 11:05 roughly, talk horse racing, and we might consider rugby down the road. After my experience over in London, watching England and Ireland slug it out in the Six Nations, I might be persuaded to learn a little more about it. It's actually very, very much in some ways like American football.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of comparisons I can see between the two sports. More so than soccer for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, don't we already have video of you punting a rugby ball?
Well, not we. No, we don't.
NOLA.com does not have video.
Oh, yeah,
punting a rugby
we do.
ball.
We do.
Yeah, we did. It was pretty impressive too, wasn't it?
No, not really. That first one was actually a pretty big whiff. If you want to be honest. So sorry.
I'd like to see Clyde over here punt a
Top
rugby
of the
ball.
box,
Mr.
Clyde.
Top of the box, Mr. Darnell Hillman.
I'm telling you right now, like you'd be surprised at the things I can do on the athletic fields, man. I'm just
Dr.
saying.
J and Clyde, same guy.
I know, right?
Absolutely. I'm not buying that. All
Don't
right,
have to.
speaking of hoops, Pelicans,
yes.
they keep winning. They play every day. They keep winning every day. At this rate, they'll just keep playing every single day the rest of the season. But look, nice win last night over a playoff caliber team at home. They take out the Indiana Pacers, and not a high scoring affair, 96-92. And you going through this stretch, and they've won 3 in a row, and they play again tonight against the Lakers. Then they go to Houston on Saturday. Look, the fact that we know it's been, 3 games in 4 nights, and now it's going to be 4 games in 5 nights, this little mini stretch. The fact that they've gotten through some of this, 3 of them with the wins, look, I'm impressed. And at some point, they're going to teeter out. I'm wondering if that's tonight, and you're wondering if the Lakers, they're way out of playoff contention, and yet they're still not totally eliminated from playoff contention. They're on the verge. And I heard the argument last night when I was watching the broadcast. Look, the Lakers, they might as well just keep playing and try to improve for next year because they're so far from tanking. They might as well try to keep playing hard and try to improve. But look, the fact that Pelicans have got this 3 games in a row stretch in such a difficult span of games, pretty darn impressive, if you ask me.
Well, I thought last night was impressive because of what you said, Larry, that they won in a different way. They've been playing with this pace, scoring 120 there for a while. Now they got into kind of a defensive grinder. Their shots weren't falling. It was kind of an ugly game, and they grinded out a tough win against a team that as we said yesterday, Clyde, I mean, this team was hot. They'd beaten Boston on the road. They beat Philadelphia on the road. They'd won 7 of 10 overall, and they're in the thick of it in the Eastern Conference. And that game was up for grabs in the last 3 or 4 minutes. And lately, probably for the past month or so, the Pels have been winning these games. They've been winning these 50-50 games, executing down the stretch, and we've heard so much criticism over the years about Alvin Gentry and his staff, and the Pelicans can't finish. That's out the window because they're out executing these teams down the stretch, and it was really fascinating theater yesterday to watch the 2-man game of Victor Oladipo against and what's his name, Miles Turner, going against Anthony Davis and Drew Holiday. That's basically what that game came down to.
Yeah, it was pretty much a game of glorified 2-on-2.
It was 2-on-2, and it was fascinating. And in the end, the Pels 2-man game was better than the Pacers. They out executed.
Yeah, absolutely. And you look at the way that the Pelicans got it done. Drew Holiday didn't have his best game. Let's see. And then you have Etuan Moore play probably one of the best games of the season, going 10 of 15 from the field, 23 points. And, of course, Anthony Davis gets his. And you just figure the way the Pelicans have been playing, I think it was one shot down the stretch when he's on the side and shot clock's going down. He just does a step back and it looks like someone's in his space and he just drills it. You just expect Anthony Davis to hit all of those shots. Just don't take any three-pointers, even though he went 1 for 1.
Yeah.
But you just expect him at this point to make every clutch shot. And you also expect Drew Holiday to be on the free throw line at the end of the game, miss, and Anthony Davis is going to fight for the rebound and put a putback. Because we've seen that a couple times in the last week and a half or so.
And, I mean, that's the thing, too. And let's not discredit Anthony Davis and what he means to this team and what he was able to do. That three-pointer that you alluded to, the only one that he shot that in transition. Literally, he was bringing the ball up, decided to take that shot, and drilled it. Nothing but that. It was perfect. And then another play later on in the game, being able to get around two guys on him to get the tip in late on a Drew Holiday missed free throw was also clutch. But I don't think that we can last night's player of the game was definitely far and away Etuan Moore, and I'll tell you how. So with less than 2 minutes left in the game, a foul on a three-pointer for Darren Collison tied the game up at 87 with 1:49 left. On the very next play, if you can remember it from late in the game, Etuan Moore took a desperate shot. No one got him on the rebound. He was able to get back, go back up, and hit the floater to give the Pelicans a 2-point lead. After that was basically it, because on the next play, they get defensively, the Pelicans play solid defense on Oladipo, get him to drive into a turnover, and then Anthony Davis comes back with a fadeaway shot.
He got stuck and he walked.
And everybody knew it, too, because it looked so bad. And then right down the very next play, Anthony Davis hits that fadeaway shot on the assist from Mirotic, and that's a 4-point lead, and then they come back again, do another turn, get a foul on Drew Holiday, and that's a 6-point lead. So that's a 6-point swing over the course of the last 45 seconds of the game, and that was the difference between the Pelicans being in a dogfight and possibly going into overtime, and then eventually coming out and pulling out this win, because it was a team effort. But that shot by Etuan Moore solidified the scrappy nature that the Pelicans had to play last night to get that win against the Pacers.
Now, I want to see how much you guys think. Do you think it was good defense or just a poor night from the Pacers shooting? They shot 36.6% from the field.
Well, a little of both. There were some open looks that they missed that they probably would normally knock down. But the thing that's impressing me right now is AD's defense. I mean, he's become just a
he altered the shot of Collison at the end of the game.
He's like a one-man wrecking crew in there. They would funnel everything into him, and I don't know how many shots he altered or forced to miss. Now, they were getting a friendly whistle last night at home. There's no doubt. I mean, Oladipo drove in a couple times and could have gotten a whistle.
Although a lot of offensive foul calls, like a lot of offensive push-offs and really like push-off fouls and hooks a lot too. Like there were so many calls that last night to where it seemed like they were specifically looking to stop any kind of offensive manhandling or pushing around in the paint last night too. It seemed like they had a lot of those calls.
Yeah,
I
agree. But I mean, they were definitely getting the benefit of the whistle, which is what happens at home.
Anthony Davis got 5 blocks last night.
Yeah, and altered, I think,
a few shots.
A few other ones. Yeah. But that's what they do. They play the perimeter, and then they have the quickness, they being the Pels, to funnel those guys into him, and he's tough to stop.
All right, let's take a break right here on the show. When we get back, we'll kind of look at the rest of the standings, because the Western Conference, everyone around them seemingly won, so we'll take a look at that. Don't forget, around 10:30, we'll talk with our outdoors guru, Marshman Masson, Todd Masson from NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune. We'll talk with him in about, 12 minutes or so. Top of the 11 o'clock hour, Joe Christofek from the Fairgrounds. Talk a little Louisiana Derby. And 11 o'clock hour, you'll hear from Saints and Pelicans president Dennis Lauscha on the passing of Tom Benson and the state of the franchise, how they feel about things. So we will hear from that, and we'll have some open call lines as well throughout the show. 504-260-1280 is the number to get involved here on Sports 1280. NOLA.com and the iHeartRadio app. For Dunc and Holder.
A 4-foot by 6-foot box of dirt lies in wait, lined with chalk, undisturbed. For now, the Cakes are ready to dig back in for another summer on Sports 1280 New Orleans.
Shop Lowe's Spring Black Friday event and save big. If you've been thinking of updating old appliances, now's the time, because you can save up to 30% on select appliance special values, including washers, dryers, refrigerators, and more. And make plans to go out for dinner with up to 20% off select grills. All projects have a starting point. Start with Lowe's. Offers valid through 3/28 while supplies last. More exclusions apply. See store for details. U.S. only.
It's music to your ears. The chance to visit one of the most unique cities in the world while it's celebrating its historic 300th birthday. Welcome to San Antonio's Tricentennial. A full year of events, exhibits, and unmatched fun. There's never been more to do, experience, and taste than right now. And it's all waiting for you here in this one-of-a-kind city, rich in culture, character, and endless entertainment. Plan your perfect trip at visitsanantonio.com.
I'm attorney Mike Brandner. After you've been hurt in a car wreck, you wouldn't settle for getting half your car fixed, so why settle for getting half a check? The insurance companies have teams of adjusters and lawyers, and their job is to pay you as little as possible for your case. In a wreck, need a check? Call Mike Brandner today. We'll work hard to get you all the money you deserve and keep you out of the courtroom. Call 345-1111. The call and the advice are free.
Hurt in a wreck, Mike Brandner the one. Call 345-1111.
A New York City lawmaker has introduced a bill banning smoking while walking. Jennifer Pulsoni has details.
New York City Councilman Peter Koo says pedestrians and children don't need to suffer on the streets from secondhand smoke. Under his measure, walkers caught puffing away on city streets would be hit with a $50 fine. That's the same penalty already in place in city parks where smoking is banned, in addition to city bars, restaurants, stores, and other public indoor places. Jennifer Pulsoni, NBC News Radio, New York.
Eating healthier could improve your mood. An Australian study found that people with diets rich in fruits, vegetables, nuts, and other foods that are actually good for the body had lower stress and depression levels than people who ate highly processed and sugary foods. Researchers at Deakin University say healthier foods provide specific nutrients that help the brain cope better with life stressors. Health Update, Sarah Lee Kessler, NBC News Radio.
This is Dunc and Holder on Sports 1280 New Orleans.
Pelicans still in the thick of the Western Conference. Won 3 in a row. They are currently the 5th seed. Can't afford to lose any games, though. San Antonio back from limbo. They've won 5 in a row. They're now 42-30. And as we keep speaking, the Western Conference, stay above the 6th spot and above. Don't go to 7 and 8. And you're only a game above the Minnesota Timberwolves. They're 5-5 in their last 10. Utah finally lost, and now they are at the 8th spot, 40-31. The Nuggets are 39-33. They are a game and a half out behind the Jazz. They're 3 behind the Pelicans. So the Pelicans, I think, can we get to the point where we can say the Pelicans are in the playoffs?
No.
We're not at that point yet.
No.
I mean,
You're not at that point yet.
I mean, if they keep
They're
winning,
3 games up with 10 to play.
that's really good. That's really
They're
good.
3 games up with 10 to play.
But there's no way to say at this point, because of how stacked that bottom half of the Western Conference is right now, that you can realistically, or you can comfortably say that they're for sure in. Honestly, the biggest thing for me is if they can get to, look, we're talking about a team that could possibly get to 50 wins. Do you think we would have been talking about that at the beginning of the season? Absolutely.
They're not going to get to 50 wins.
Ooh. I mean,
That's not going to happen. Look at that schedule.
I mean, the schedule's tough, but I mean, if they
look at that schedule.
look, if they take these past two, they take tonight's game against the Lakers.
They're going to beat the Lakers, but after tonight,
It's going to get harder, but they're going to need to continue. But that's the thing, though. Like they may not get to 50, but they're going to still continue to need to win, or they're going to need to get some help with other teams losing. Which that's the thing that you're talking about, Larry, is that they didn't get any help last night because everybody else around them won.
Right. The Nuggets won, the Clippers won, the Spurs won, and they're all over the place. But the Clippers and the Nuggets aren't gaining any ground because other teams are winning. So, yeah, Jeff, just kind of sift through the schedule, what the Pelicans have left. We know they take on the Lakers tonight at home. Then they head to Houston on Saturday, and they still got some pretty difficult games. Teams floating around the playoffs still left remaining within those 10 games.
The next four are a murderer's row. They go to after the Lakers, I should say.
Right.
They go on Saturday. They play at Houston, the best team in the NBA. Then they come back here to the Smoothie King Center next Tuesday and play the Trailblazers, that are arguably the hottest team in the NBA. Then they go to Cleveland and play the Cavs up in Cleveland, where they historically have not done well. And then they play the Thunder, who also were very hot until they lost that game the other night against Boston. That's four very tough games. I mean, if they can go 2-2 in those games, I think they should be happy.
Right. And I still say I think they're in. I still think they're comfortable.
Well, I think they're in, but I can't think
that was my question.
They're in.
Why not?
Because they're not in.
Well, all right. Technically, they don't have a Y next to their name in the ESPN standings.
I'm telling you, their last 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games of the year, they have exactly one layup.
Who is it? The Suns?
At the Suns. That is it.
Who else do they
the
have?
other 8
Clippers.
That's not a layup. They're fighting.
That's not a layup.
No,
I mean the Suns aren't a layup either.
Playing at
as
the
we saw last
Clippers,
time.
at the Warriors. No, I'm sorry. They have 2 layups. They have the home game against Memphis. So they have 2 layups, and everything else is, I'd say they're probably not favored in any of the other games except for maybe at home against OKC. They'd be probably favored.
Okay, so here's what we have so far, and this is from NBA.com. So 4 teams right now are currently eliminated from playoff contention: Sacramento, Dallas, Memphis, and Phoenix. So that leaves, as we've talked about, Houston, who has already won the Southwest Division at number 1 right now, Golden State, who has won the Pacific, Portland, Oklahoma City, the Pelicans, San Antonio, Minnesota, and Utah. Then behind them, the only ones that are left currently in contention: Denver, the Clippers, and the Lakers. They have not technically been eliminated from playoff contention.
I'm assuming if the Lakers lose tonight, they're probably eliminated. I mean, that'd be 40 losses, 31-40.
Well, if you look at the records of the teams that have been eliminated, Sacramento's 23-49, Dallas is 22-49, Memphis is 19-52, and Phoenix is 19-53. So you're probably looking at, if the Lakers lose tonight or lose any combination maybe of the next few games, then they'll probably be the next team eliminated.
And it also sounds like I've seen via, I think it's Daniel Salerson, of course, of the Pelicans radio network. It sounds like Melvin Ingram will not be playing tonight, so that's a good
that could be huge
sign for the Pelicans. Because I remember last time they played him, they had some trouble with Melvin Ingram.
So Brandon Ingram.
Brandon Ingram. Melvin Ingram.
Melvin Ingram.
He's also in Los Angeles. He plays for the Chargers. Yes.
You're not correct.
Yeah. Melvin Ingram might be tough. He might go sack Anthony Davis. Might be the end of the line for him. But no, Brandon Ingram, excuse me. Yeah. So, all right, let's take a break right here on the show, and let's switch gears. Talk a little outdoors with our man Todd Masson from NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune. Marshman Masson on YouTube. If you'd like anything outdoors, he's your guy. So we'll talk with him. Top of the 11 o'clock hour, we'll talk Louisiana Derby with Joe Christopher from the Fairgrounds. And then you'll also hear in the 11 o'clock hour from Dennis Lauscher. He spoke with the media yesterday and has some interesting thoughts on the stability of the the Pelicans, and the Saints. So you'll hear from that, and your phone calls are welcome. 504-260-1280 is the number to get involved here. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app. Duncan Holder.
Your forecast on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
This report is brought to you by Stand Up to Cancer. From the Fox 8 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Bruce Katz for your Thursday. Another beautiful day. Mostly sunny skies, temperatures in the mid to upper 60s. Tonight, overnight lows pretty chilly, back to the 40s north and 50 south. And it looks like we wrap up the work week on a dry note into the weekend. Friday, mostly sunny at 75. We do begin to warm up Saturday and Sunday with partly cloudy skies at 80 to near 82. From the Fox 8 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Bruce Katz with your Weather Authority forecast.
I'm Tony Goldwyn. 20 years ago, when my mom had lung cancer, she didn't have many choices. But today, you do. If you've been diagnosed with lung cancer, please visit standuptocancer.org/lung cancer to learn more.
Message and data rates may apply.
Hi, I'm Frank Thomas, the Big Hurt. After I left baseball, I just couldn't stay in shape like I used to. Turns out, once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone, and that can make it harder to get into shape. So I got back into the game with Nugenics. I'm feeling stronger with a lot more energy and drive. You want to get back into shape? Get Nugenics. All you have to do is send one simple text.
Frank's right. Just text RULE to 321321 to get a complimentary bottle of award-winning Nugenics, the #1 selling free testosterone booster at GNC. Its unique man-boosting formula is powered by Testofen, a patented key ingredient clinically researched to help a man feel stronger, leaner, more energetic, and more passionate.
And guys, she'll like the difference too.
Nugenic samples are not available in stores. To get your complimentary bottle, text RULE to 321321. That's RULE to 321321.
If you have a Lowe's Advantage card, you can get an extra 5% off every day on items big or small. So you can save an extra 5% on a new coat of paint, updating appliances, replacing the flooring, and even save an extra 5% on little things like cleaning supplies, laundry detergent, and air filters. The big to-dos to the everyday essentials. You get an extra 5% savings every day when you use your Lowe's Advantage card. If you don't have one, apply today. All projects have a starting point. Start with Lowe's. Subject to credit approval and can't be combined with any other credit offers. Exclusions apply. See store for details. U.S. only.
Here's today's tax tip. Tax experts say if you plan on moving from a regular job to being self-employed, it's important to recognize you're going to be living in a different tax world. Chief Tax Officer for Jackson Hewitt Tax Service Mark Stever says tax returns for self-employed filers are some of the most complex, even though they may seem simple.
It's important to know that the tax code, as large and complicated as it is, really has some great benefits and great rules associated with businesses, big and small.
He says people with sideline, part-time, or full-time businesses should absolutely bring in someone who truly understands all the great rules and benefits available to businesses, big and small. Stever says self-employed taxpayers need to keep up with all records related to their business activity, not just the revenue of the business, but the real and incidental expenses that are incurred throughout the year. He says business owners get to deduct all sorts of secondary costs, including travel, meals, lodging costs, and costs of marketing. Stever says even gifts, depreciation of assets, and support help such as contractors can be eligible for deductions. That's today's tax tip from NBC News Radio. I'm Mark Mayfield.
New Orleans sports talk about your favorite teams. Sports 1280.
We were talking about a possible ska cheeky black fusion. Is that possible?
I mean, anything is possible, right? I mean, we could do.
That's actually true. Anything
is possible.
You can mix any music together and it might not sound well, but you never know. You never know.
I think it would work. I mean, can you imagine getting some kind of, you've got horns in the background, you've got a little bit of just that thumping bass.
Horns and bounce?
Yeah.
Would that mix?
Yeah.
That would definitely work.
I mean, brass bands, man. Shoot. You got that, add a little just, ska guitar. Amazing.
Absolutely. All right. Joining us on Dunc and Holder, Marshman Masson, Todd Masson from NOLA.com, the Times Picayune. Every time we have you on, I'm just always curious to where you're always calling this from, because it's never in the same place, and you could be like scouring above water with like a rocket propeller doing God knows what, because you're just a magician. So Todd, where are you today?
Well, actually, I am in New Orleans City Park shooting a segment that's going to air on two places, actually. Tonight on Fox 8 News, also on the Marshman Masson YouTube channel. I'm out here with a guy named Brock Corcoran, who set the City Park Bass record 2 weeks ago. Caught a 9-pound, 3-ounce largemouth bass.
What?
In one of the lagoons.
In City Park? In City Park?
City Park.
Come on.
Yes, indeedy. Yep. We're out here now on one of the lagoons. I'm looking back at morning call as we speak. We've been fishing maybe 30 minutes or so. I got a really good bite. Unfortunately, I missed it, but that's all we've gotten so far. But he did say the fishing should pick up as the day warms up. He said prime time should be around noon. So we'll see. Hopefully we'll get something. Captain C.T. Williams is out here as well doing his Fox 8 deal. And he and I have a little fishing competition going so you can catch the biggest fish. So, we'll see. CT's got a little bit of an advantage because I'm doing a radio interview, and he's still fishing right now.
Well, I have to admit, I knew that people caught bass out at the lagoons around City Park, but a 9-pounder, really? That they have that kind of fish, those kind of fish in those lagoons out there?
Yeah, they really do. And actually, Brock says they've got bigger fish out here. You've seen them on beds. But yeah, the City Park record, I remember doing 2 stories. It was set and then broken really, really quickly, and both those fish were over 9. But then Brock came along with his 9.3, and that beat both of those. So, yeah, the City Park Big Bass Rodeo is this weekend. That's a big event here in South Louisiana. It always attracts a big, big crowd. And Captain C.T. Williams' wife, Danica Williams, she runs an organization called Wish to Fish, which takes underprivileged kids fishing. She does about 6 events throughout the year. Well, they have this big tackle garage sale associated with the Big Bass Rodeo where they sell tackle that is donated, and man, you can get some ridiculous deals. It's kind of like just like a yard sale. Lures that might cost you $8 in a store, you get for $1 or $2. So anybody who's interested in that definitely wants to come out here on Saturday and man, take your kids out here to fish. They do all kinds of different events for the Big Bass Rodeo, including like a brim trim or something they call it. It's a category where you try and catch as many panfish as you can. And, City Park lagoons are full of an invasive species called Rio Grande cichlids that they really want to get out of the lagoon. So if you catch those, don't throw them back. Put them in a bucket and take them in to weigh in for the brim trim. But, yeah, check it out. If you're interested in fishing the rodeo this weekend, you can find all the information. Just Google New Orleans City Park Big Bass Rodeo, and you'll get all the information you want on it. Really, really fun event. Highly recommend it.
Todd Masson, our outdoors guru at NOLA.com, the Times-Picayune. Todd, real quick, before we get back into questions, just let everybody know where to follow you, what you've been doing, and Marshman Masson. I mean, I feel like you're getting subscribers, new subscribers all the time.
Yeah, but we always take more, obviously. Yeah, Marshman Masson on YouTube. Just go to YouTube and put Marshman Masson in. It'll take you right to my channel. Lots of great stuff. We put 2 or 3 videos up every week, all based here in South Louisiana. So new one dropped last night. It's on A Fisherman's Wife, Alexa. Kind of imagine what Alexa would be like if they designed it for a fisherman's wife. So go check that out if you haven't seen it yet. I think that's also up on NOLA.com today.
Well, Todd, we were talking before we got you on the program about this kind of bluebird sky we got today, and I was describing or actually explaining to my non-angling co-hosts here that sometimes the weather can actually be too good for fishing, right? This bluebird sky can throw things off.
Yes, indeed, Jeff. No doubt about it. In fact, the prettiest weather days are often the worst fishing days, and definitely that's working against us today. We've got a bluebird sky, not a cloud in the sky, high sun. That does, and actually high pressure, and that's really, really not good, particularly when you're targeting largemouth bass. But hey, that's just excuses. It's still better than being in the office, that's for sure. So definitely having a good time out here, and hopefully I'll catch one bigger than CT's.
Where did you all your video before the fishing wife Alexa? The one where you were doing the top water? Where were you all fishing for that? Because that was great video.
Yeah, it was my son and me. We slipped out between rainstorms last Friday. We fished out of Wrigley's Marina, and we had literally about 2 hours to fish. I thought we'd have a little bit longer than that between the rainstorms. But, yeah, we threw topwater baits and didn't catch any big trout. Our biggest fish of the day was about 16 inches. But I don't think we caught any throwbacks. Then we threw all fish back. We didn't keep any of them, but I don't think we had any under 12. I also caught a big redfish. So, really fast action. The topwater action has been just top-notch this spring, which is really surprising because we haven't had the most favorable weather for it, but it's been very, very good. Now, that whole area is subject to change at any day's notice because the Bonnet Carré Spillway, of course, is open. But I did hear they're going to close the spillway. It's going to be entirely closed by April 1st. But, Lake Pontchartrain, that whole system is going to be full of fresh river water. It's going to take a little time to work its way through there. But, hey, it'll be great in the fall, no doubt about it. Excellent action coming up in Lake Pontchartrain. Just going to have to wait a little while.
Todd Masson. Follow him on YouTube at Marshman Masson. And, of course, Todd, where do they follow you on Twitter? And, of course, you can check out all of his videos at NOLA.com as well. Yeah, Twitter at TMassonFish. And Instagram, Todd_Masson. And Snapchat, TMassonFish as well. So see you somewhere on there. Got to have some social media that you follow.
There you go. Get that bait back in the water, Todd. Quit talking to us.
I need you to catch a 12-pound bass. 12 pounds. Let's do it.
Yeah, I'd love to beat the record holder, fishing with the record holder.
Right, 12 pounds. That's what I'm shooting for. If I don't see that, I'm going to be bummed.
Just drop a bunch of lead sinkers in its belly before you weigh it. That's the old trick.
I need to give me a gill net.
There you go. There you go, Todd. All right, happy fishing, my friend.
Thanks, Todd.
All right, thanks a lot. All right, guys.
All right, that's Todd Masson. I had no idea you could catch that big of a fish at City Park. I always feel like the people who are just fishing in there are picking like tin cans, or they're going to catch a shoe.
What I thought was interesting what he said, and I agree. I thought they were just going to catch, a bunch of creek chub or mullet or something. But he said they've got this invasive species, the Rio Grande cichlid. Wasn't the Rio Grande Valley the name of the school that played UNO? Mm-hmm. So another invasive species from Rio Grande. But so how does that happen? I assume somebody gets these cichlids for their aquarium. They give up, everybody goes through that tropical fish phase at some point in their life, and then they say, you know what, this is kind of a hassle, cleaning the tank, I don't want to do it. So then they just take and dump their fish out in the City Park Lagoon, and next thing we know, we got all these cichlids taking over our lagoons. That's how it works?
I guess. Why don't they have giant koi in there? Have you ever eaten koi?
No, I've never eaten koi.
I don't know.
I don't think koi can live in. I think koi can only live in fresh water.
Well, yeah, that's fresh water.
Fresh water.
So
come on,
how'd you have to? But how would you bring koi into the?
Well, koi.
You would just buy one at PetSmart and throw it in there.
Throw it in their lake. Yeah, the lagoon. It's easy.
I don't think.
there's all koi are big. For fish ponds in people's backyards.
Yes. Yeah, and obviously Chinese restaurants.
Well, I don't know about that.
I don't know if they sell koi at restaurants.
No, not selling koi, having them on display.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Where you go over like a wooden plank and there's a big pond.
I would say there's a little tiny waterfall. Really,
is there
really
a Chinese
serene
restaurant that may have a wooden pond that advertises on our station with koi in them?
Dave's looking at us right now like there is not one.
Does it have tongue cho sauce?
I'm not sure. Are they listed in the top 50 somewhere in the world?
Made the list.
How can you verify that?
Duncan,
there's a list.
They listed the top radio shows in America. Duncan Holder made the list.
Was not on the list.
Duncan Holder did not make the list.
Not make the list.
You know what? There's a list out right now. New Super Bowl odds. Yes.
Odds McGee.
You're going to love this because let me just tell you what. I don't know. I'm still stunned that a certain team has jumped the Saints in the Super Bowl odds.
Oh, teaser. That's known as a teaser.
In the NFC. So we'll do that. Top of the 11 o'clock hour, we'll talk Louisiana Derby with Joe Christofek. Also hear from Dennis Lauscha in hour number 2, his thoughts on the stability of the Saints and the Pelicans, and, of course, his thoughts on really a father figure to him, Tom Benson, team president now, and he's worked under Tom Benson for years and years and years. So we'll hear from Dennis Lauscha in hour number 2. And your phone calls are also welcome. 504-260-1280 is the number to get involved here. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app. Duck and Holder.
There are over 41,000 Chinese restaurants in America, and CNN ranked the top 50. Trey Yen in Mandeville made the list. To experience some of the finest Chinese food anywhere, take the short trip across the lake tonight. Trey Yen.
Corey Johnson on The Neutral Ground, 4 till 6.
When you get a letter from Greg Benio one day, because I'm going to have a wreck if you keep doing that Buddy Darren Roberto stuff.
Kenny, then damn you Kong Fu and Dammy Kong.
We don't want you wrecking the vehicle, Marco, but my buddy B.
Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Mike Hudson, area president for iHeartMedia New Orleans. iHeartMedia New Orleans is growing its sales force. If you're an experienced media rep, any media, I want to talk to you. Call me, 504-679-7300, or email me, michaelhudson@iheartmedia.com. iHeartMedia is the largest media company in the world. Grow with us. We're looking for you. We'll pay you what you're worth. 504-679-7300, or email me, michaelhudson@iheartmedia.com. iHeartMedia is an equal opportunity employer.
This is Smart Hacks for your smart speakers. I'm Stacey Welter. Did you know that Alexa will read bedtime stories to your child? Yeah, just say, Alexa, tell bedtime story to Billy, and you can both sit back until one of you falls asleep. Once upon a time. Alexa also connects you to your favorite live radio stations with iHeartRadio. Tell Alexa to play your favorite iHeartRadio station like this. Alexa, play iHeart 80s.
Playing iHeart 80s on iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio has all your favorite music and radio on your smart speaker. This has been Smart Hacks for your smart speakers.
It's time for some straight talk. Using your phone, yeah, the one right in your hand, could cost up to 30% less every month. Got your attention, don't I? With Straight Talk's Bring Your Own Phone SIM Kit, you can keep that phone, your same 4G LTE network and number, but pay less. The ultimate unlimited plan is just $55 a month. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart.
Savings may vary. Video typically streams at DVD quality. A month equals 30 days. At 60 gigabytes, we may review accounts for violations of terms and conditions found at straighttalk.com.
For just $5 a day, you can sponsor a child through Compassion International. It's pocket change to you. It's life-changing for a child in need. Be part of the change. Become a sponsor now at compassion.com/radio. That's compassion.com/radio.
Question. When you walk into the boardrooms of the most successful companies here in Louisiana, who do you meet? Answer. Men and women who played high school sports. Education-based high school sports give us more than athletes we can root for. They give us leaders we can depend on. Question. So where will we find tomorrow's leaders? Answer. High school sports.
This message presented by the Louisiana High School Athletic Association and the Louisiana High School Athletic Directors Association.
This is Dunc and Holder on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Bovada, the gambling odds makers that we often refer to here on Dunc and Holder. Well, I'll refer to any odds maker because they always intrigue me. I don't care if it's just some phony baloney guy, but we always get stuff from Bovada. I've referenced them many, many years and some columns that I've written, and they've sent out their latest odds of who will win the Super Bowl as we're a week through free agency. So, of course, hey, if you win free agency, your odds might get better. But as of right now, the New England Patriots are still the favorite, followed by the Eagles, Vikings, Steelers. The Packers have dropped to 14-1. The Rams are 14-1. The Saints are 18-1. But jumping from 20-1 above the Saints now at 14-1, so they're even with the Rams and the Packers. Jeff, take a guess who this could be.
Good gosh, I don't know. 49ers?
Yes. The San Francisco 49ers. 14-1. A better odds than the Saints, according to Bovada.
Is that, you think, in response to their offseason? They've had a lot. I know they've made a lot of free agent moves, right? Richard Sherman. What else?
I'm trying to think. Well, obviously they got to.
We should know these things, but I don't.
Well, we don't cover the 49ers every day. I might as well look it up, see what they've done. I mean, if they've been that drastic of moves.
Richard Sherman stands out, but there's another one we're leaving out, I think. But anyway, point is, that is surprising to me. They would leap that high, but I mean they were undefeated with Garoppolo at quarterback, and they've got a ton of draft picks.
I've got the list.
Okay, read it.
So they've signed punter Jeff Locke.
Oh, that's over the top. Oh yeah,
cornerback Richard. Offensive guard Jonathan Cooper.
Edge. He was a bust.
Jerry Atachu.
He was in my free agent wish list because I thought he might be he could rebound and you can get him for cheap, but they got him.
Jerick McKinnon.
And he's replacing Carlos Hyde.
And Weston Richburg.
Who's a solid center.
That's it.
I think they're banking on that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be all-world. I think that's what these odds are banking on.
And here's who they've lost. Logan Paulson to the Falcons. Tank Carradine to the Raiders. Brandon Fusco to the Falcons. Aaron Lynch to the Bears. And Carlos Hyde to the Browns.
I don't think that's enough to vault him over the Saints, in my opinion.
I don't think so either.
By any means. I have a professed Jimmy Garoppolo man crush. There's no doubt. But
this is years you've had this. Years.
I think he's very good, but he's not that good. He's not Drew Brees. He's the heir apparent of Drew Brees, and I think he's exactly the kind of quarterback that fits Sean Payton's system. Gets the ball out quick, makes quick decisions, is accurate.
Went to Eastern Illinois.
Yeah, that's a good point. But he does. He's exactly what Sean Payton wants at quarterback. So that's why I always scoff when I hear some of these other fits that people bring up coming in here. Savage is a very similar kind of quarterback in some ways, but not enough to overtake the Saints, who, let's face it, the Saints' core, other than Breeze and, say, Cam Jordan and Mark Ingram, they're all first- and second-year players. I mean, they should only continue to be better as they reach their prime. I mean, the prime in the NFL is like 25 years old.
The Vikings are 9-1. They leaped to third. They jumped the Packers. They jumped the Steelers. So they're certainly banking on Kirk Cousins being an upgrade over Case Keenum. How much of an upgrade do you think he is? We haven't really debated that because we've been so involved in Saints stuff. But do you think Kirk Cousins is that much of an upgrade over Case Keenum? I don't know if I'm totally sold that he is like this gigantically better player than Keenum.
I'm with you. I think he's probably, most people would say he's an upgrade. But I think what Minnesota did with Case Keenum, I actually understand it. I mean, you're trying to find lightning in a bottle a second year. Keenum kind of had everything go his way. Now everybody's going to have an off season to break him down. And I think they sold at the right time on him. Got what they could out of him, no expectations. And Cousins doesn't have to be a superstar. He can be what he was in Washington, which is more than good enough, I think, for Minnesota with that defense they've got and that home field advantage. And you assume they're going to be okay running the ball with Dalvin Cook coming back. I mean, they did all last year without their star rookie running back.
And think about the Vikings. They signed Sheldon Richardson, so they've gotten better up front than what they had.
Yes, no, I agree. So I think the NFC is, man, it's going to be bearish. There's really not a lot of margin for error, although I do think the NFC South, I don't know. I think the Saints are clear front runners in the NFC South. I mean, I may be wrong. We've talked about it before. I don't like what Carolina's doing. I don't even know what the plan is there.
What have the Falcons done?
The Falcons have done nothing hardly. They've been really kind of sitting still. So I don't know. But that might not be a bad thing, that they're not overspending in free agency. Tampa Bay, they seem rudderless to me. I keep waiting. Everybody keeps saying
Jason Pierre-Paul's not doing it for you?
No, I mean, I like the addition. I think it's a very good addition, especially for that team. They have no pass rush. All of a sudden,
they were bad.
But they lost the Spence kid last year, and he was like supposed to be their big pass rusher. And once he went out, they had no one, really. I mean, everybody just double-teamed Gerald McCoy, and it was easy to block him.
And you look at these odds, the Eagles, Vikings, Packers, Rams, 49ers, they basically have the Saints as the sixth best team in the NFC. This is according to odds makers, which, look, I know that doesn't tell the whole story, but odds makers aren't typically idiots. There's a reason why they keep having money and you keep losing.
Yeah, well, but lots of times it is a little misleading. I don't think that's right to say they think they're the sixth best team. What they're saying is they think that's what the public thinks. And so they're just trying to get the betting public to bet so they can collect the vigorish or the juice and make as much money as they can.
Who are the top three?
The top three are the Patriots, Eagles, and Vikings.
So
Steelers are fourth.
So basically they're taking last year's AFC champion, NFC champion, NFC runner-up, and a team that got shellacked on its home field to a Jacksonville team that probably had no business whipping them like that.
Did you use the word shellac?
Shellac. Yes, I did.
People use that word?
Boom shakalaka.
Yes, NBA Jam. I mean, Are we completely surprised? And I mean, that was going to be my other question on the back end of this is seeing now, because we really haven't talked about a lot of the other moves that the rest of the teams have been making are the ones that you would imagine to want to take a shot at potentially being in the Super Bowl next year. I mean, are the Saints in there? Are we talking about the Rams? Are we talking about the Eagles? Maybe the Vikings? Or because you're right, like other AFC teams outside of the Browns, aren't really doing a whole lot as if they don't feel like they need to do a whole lot.
Well, I think the Texans have made some moves.
Yeah,
Jacksonville's made some moves. Oakland, obviously Denver's their odds have jumped a good bit from 33-1 to 25-1 since they got Case Keenum, and they feel like they've got a viable quarterback now. So, look, I think the Saints are primed to make a run. I think we all know that.
What are the Texans' odds?
22-1.
That's a good bet. Let's take all of our money, pool it together, and bet on the Texans. I think they're
have them to win the Super Bowl.
I think they're a great Super Bowl bet next year. Deshaun Watson will be back. They get Watt back. They've done. Who do they bring in at corner?
Aaron Colvin.
Brought
Tyrann Mathieu
in.
Their secondary is certainly better.
They're going to be
brought back Jonathan Joseph, who's kind of their veteran stalwart, who's I think can still play.
But they have a problem, right? They still haven't solved left tackle. Am I wrong about that? They were interested in Nate Solder. Didn't happen.
They missed on him.
Yeah, they missed. Yeah.
Didn't want to pay that much. To me, they've got to shore up their offensive line because they want to run the ball, of course. But
and then he goes to Jacksonville. Solder does, right?
Right.
Yeah. So.
No. Nate Solder went. I thought he went to the Giants. Am I wrong?
Solder went to the Giants.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Solder went to the Giants, and I was trying to think about who else went to
the Jags.
The Jags.
Andrew Norwell.
Yes.
Big guard
from Carolina.
Yeah, because they actually have good tackles in Jacksonville now because they got the kid from Auburn, right?
Yeah.
Or Alabama, Cam Robinson. Yeah, so they're fine. They're fine up front with Leonard Fournette.
Who wins the AFC South then? Do you think the Texans will be the overwhelming favorite going into?
Well, they're even with Jacksonville for this thing at 22-1. Let me see where
Titans.
The Titans are 50-1. They're way, way down the list, and then Indianapolis is 60-1.
Oh. And by the way, word on the street around the NFL is it sounds like the Rams are kind of perceived favorites for Ndamukong Suh.
That's what I've always gathered because they think the Aaron Donald-Suh combo will get it done. We'll see. Suh reportedly canceled his visit with the Raiders, so it's kind of a three-team race: Tennessee, the Saints, and the Rams. So hour number 1 is up. Hour number 2 is on the way. Coming back top of the hour, we'll have Joe Christopek from the Fairgrounds Talk Louisiana Derby. You'll also hear from Saints and Pelicans team president Dennis Lauscha on his thoughts on the stability of the franchise after the passing of Tom Benson. So come on back. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app. Duncan Holder.
Fly girl, I wanna be with you. You're not the prettiest thing, girl, but that's okay.
You know, before Boost, our phone bill was obscene. I had to hide it from the kids. So we switched to Boost and got lines for the whole family with unlimited gigs for a much more family-friendly price. It's nice to have a phone bill that doesn't require parental controls.
Your family deserves better than scary phone bills. Get 4 lines for only $25 per line, each with unlimited gigs. Plus, get up to 4 free Samsung J7 perks with 6 months of Hulu where you can stream all the shows everyone is talking about. All on the super reliable and super fast nationwide network. Boost makes it easy to switch. Switching makes it easy to save.
Offer ends 4/16/18. First line's $100 a month. Lines 2 to 4 free. Requires 1 line to port in. Includes unlimited talk, text, and data with video streams at up to 480p. Music at up to 500 kilobits per second. Gaming up to 2 megabits per second. VDD prioritization during congestion. Free phones require port-in, purchase of eligible device, and activation on plans $50 or higher. Includes 6 months of access to 1 Hulu limited commercial plan per eligible line for new Hulu subscribers only. Additional restrictions apply. Terms at www.boostmobile.com/Hulu-terms. Coverage and offers not available everywhere. Restrictions apply.
WODT WNOE FM HD2 New Orleans. Listen on the free iHeartRadio app. Search Sports 1280. Fox Sports trending now.
Breaking news in the NFL, the Giants have traded defensive end Jason Pierre-Paul to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for a pair of draft picks. And after meeting with the Rams on Tuesday, free agent defensive tackle Ndamukong Suh canceled his trip to visit with the Raiders. Quarterback Johnny Manziel will be throwing to receivers at the University of San Diego's Pro Day today, according to multiple reports. It'll be the first time NFL scouts will get a chance to see him up close as he attempts his pro football comeback. In other football news, soccer specifically, according to ESPN FC, Zlatan Ibrahimovic is leaving Manchester United. He's reportedly closing in on a deal with the MLS's LA Galaxy. College hoops, Dan Hurley is leaving Rhode Island after agreeing to a reported 6-year deal with UConn to become the Huskies' next head basketball coach. And Arizona coach Sean Miller denies a report by the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette that he's a candidate for the Pitt coaching vacancy. I'm Deb Carson.
We are It's a your shot at $1,000 now. Text the keyword BILLS to 200-200. You'll get a text confirming entry plus iHeartRadio info. Standard data and message rates apply. That's BILLS to 200-200.
O'Reilly. Restore your vehicle's lost power by cleaning your entire fuel system with Chevron Techron Fuel System Cleaner. Right now, buy one bottle and get one free at O'Reilly Auto Parts, plus get double O Rewards points on your purchase. Keep your engine clean with Chevron Techron Fuel System Cleaner at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limit supplies. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The Troubadour Hotel New Orleans Tapestry Collection by Hilton, located in the New Orleans CBD, has luxurious finishes to complement the professional and an exquisite view of the New Orleans skyline for impressing clients and colleagues at the rooftop bar. Right now, the Troubadour Hotel is offering 1,000 Hilton Honors Points per night with their grand opening offer, valid now through April 30th. The Troubadour Hotel. Respite from the mundane. It's anything but generic. Visit them online today at thetroubadour.com.
You know, before Boost, our phone bill was obscene. I had to hide it from the kids. So we switched to Boost and got lines for the whole family with unlimited gigs for a much more family-friendly price. It's nice to have a phone bill that doesn't require parental controls.
Your family deserves better than scary phone bills. Get 4 lines for only $25 per line, each with unlimited gigs. Plus, get up to 4 free Samsung J7 perks with 6 months of Hulu, where you can stream all the shows everyone is talking about. All on the super reliable and super fast nationwide network. Boost makes it easy to switch. Switching makes it easy to save.
Offer ends 4/16/18. First lines $100 a month. Lines 2 to 4 free. Requires 1 line to port in. Includes unlimited talk, text, and data with video streams at up to 480p. Music at up to 500 kilobits per second. Gaming up to 2 megabits per second. Data deprioritization during congestion. Refunds require port-in, purchase of eligible device, and activation on plans $50 or higher. Includes 6 months of access to 1 Hulu limited commercial plan per eligible line for new Hulu subscribers only. Additional restrictions apply. Terms at www.boostmobile.com/Hulu-terms. Coverage and offers not available everywhere. Restrictions apply.
Dunc and Holder, hour number 2 on a Thursday, March 22nd. Larry Holder, Jeff Duncan, Clyde Redan, Dave DeCorbier, all in a tight space. At least Dave's on the other side of the window here at iHeart Central. You missed any of the show so far, sports1280.com, NOLA.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube page. And, of course, Clyde gets an update or two daily on the hot topics we talk about on the show. You can check that out at NOLA.com. And we'll be talking with Joe Christopek from the fairgrounds here shortly with the Louisiana Derby coming up this weekend, the pinnacle of the fairgrounds racing season. And we've got Joe on the show making his second appearance here on Dunc and Holder. Joe, it looks like it's going to be a gorgeous weekend for the pinnacle of the fairgrounds season. I'm sure you're expecting a major turnout here for the Louisiana Derby.
Yeah, the races came up great. You're better. You got to be salivating at some of the opportunities. And if you're a socialite that's local in the area, it's the place to be on Saturday. So, yeah, we're looking forward to it from every aspect.
So, Joe, I've had a chance to look over the Louisiana Derby field, and I have to say, man, it is competitive, as always, when you have $1 million purse on the line. But it looks to me, in my kind of novice handicapping, that there's a lot of speed in this race. A lot of horses that like to run on the lead or at least on the pace. So, what are you expecting in this race? I mean, I know that we've got some of the horses that are coming out of the Risen Star that are going to be among the favorites, along with My Boy Jack coming in from California. But are you expecting this to be a pace duel up front?
It certainly looks like that on paper. I don't think there's any real pedal to the metal burners in here. It looks more, like you said, like a lot of horses that like to be forward, which makes it a very tactical race, a very much of a rider's race. Who's going to go, who's not going to go, who's going to send, try to get early position, who's going to sit back and try to make their move a little bit later in the race. I think Snapper Sinclair is going to go, and he's cozily drawn to the outside, so he can kind of sit and see what some of the others to his inside do with Jose Ortiz aboard. But, yeah, I would be very surprised if there wasn't at least a legitimate pace in the race, which could set the table for a horse like My Boy Jack, who really seems to have it all coming to him in this race with the 9 furlongs, the potential for an honest early pace, and his late closing style and the long stretch at Fairgrounds. To me, he's the horse to beat.
Joe Christofek from the Fairgrounds joining us right here on Dunc and Holder. Joe, I'm looking at a story you have up on americasbestracing.net, and you have 5 questions about the Louisiana Derby. And your first question is probably the one that's asked every year. Will the Louisiana Derby finally produce another Kentucky Derby winner? Just your thoughts on that question.
Yeah, I thought about this today, and when I get to Kentucky, I'm going to ask Bob Baffert personally. I mean, he obviously runs a lot in California, but he also sends horses to Oaklawn for races like the Southwest and the Rebel and the Arkansas Derby. I'm going to ask him, why didn't you ever send one of your good horses here? I mean, this is the perfect place. And when you talk to Keith DeSomo, he gave several reasons why My Boy Jack is here. It's equal weight, so if you want to stake prior, you don't have to spot weight. It's $1 million purse. It's a very kind, favoring racetrack and usually good weather conditions. And the long stretch of the 9 furlongs is a good acid test for horses that maybe want to try the 1.25 miles the first Saturday in May. Grindstone was the last winner of the Louisiana Derby to win the Kentucky Derby in the 90s. Then, of course, Funnyside was second to Peace Rules in the early 2000s. He went on to win the Kentucky Derby. It's always been a strong prep for the Kentucky Derby, but the Fairgrounds Oaks has been an amazing prep for the Kentucky Oaks. So why it's not as strong on the boys' side, I really couldn't tell you. That doesn't mean that in the years to come it won't be, because if I was a trainer or an owner with a top 3-year-old, I would definitely, give serious consideration to sending him here.
Well, Joe, you talk about, you mentioned the Fairgrounds Oaks. We've also, that's always on the card of Louisiana Derby Day. Can you handicap that race for us? Because it's a little different than the past Philly races that are leading up to this in the 3-year-old series, because we've got some defections and some new shooters, I guess.
Yeah, Monomoy Girl, based on her timing, she's going to run in the Ashland. She won the Rachel Alexandra here. I've got her, head and head with Midnight Bisou, who's out in California, as my top 2 horses in the Oaks division. So even though she's not running here for the Fairgrounds Oaks, I would still consider Monomoy Girl ours, and I think she'll be one of the favorites for the Kentucky Oaks. That being said, you got the 2-3 finishers in Classy Act and Wonder Godot. Those 2 should and will, I do believe, run well. Eskimo Kisses was a big winner in the slop at Oaklawn last time. She went on the fast track in her race prior. I think she's one of the new shooters that you got to take a look at. And then a real under-the-radar long shot. I was talking to Brendan Walsh actually at the barn this morning. This Seguro Row, who was the favorite in the Rags to Riches against Monomoy Girl last October. That didn't work out so well, and her return run didn't work out so well, although she had trouble. But Brendan said this horse trains like a beast in the mornings. You got Gary Stevens. The screws are tight. And this race might be right for the picking. So if you're looking for a long shot, Seguro Row might be the horse. I got a feeling she's pretty live.
And the rest of the card is unbelievable. Great fields in every one of these stakes races. What are you going to be looking for? Like, what are you most looking forward to on the undercard leading up to the Oaks and Louisiana Derby?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing Good Samaritan run against the Player and Scuba and the New Orleans Handicap. That should be a really good race, a short field, but some intrigue there. And then the Mules Memorial is just absolutely stacked. You got Synchrony and Mr. Misunderstood, who ran 1-2 in the Fairgrounds Handicap. You've got Arklow, who is a graded stakes winner, grade 2 winner as a 3-year-old. He won his comeback race. You got Lucilin from Karen McLaughlin's barn, who is an up-and-comer coming in from Florida. Forge, who was second best behind World Approval, who was the Eclipse Award-winning turf horse in 2017. And then Ring Weekend, who at the age of 7 has earned $1.5 million, and he won his comeback race. That's a very deep and talented field, and if you're a bettor and you've got opinions in that race and you get it right, you're going to get paid.
Joe, let's wrap this up. Who do you think can take this? And I've got your top 4 picks. I'll let you reveal them, though. I see them in front of me.
I don't know. I'm always looking for long shots. I'm always trying to beat the favorites, but the Louisiana Derby to me looks pretty clear cut. I think my boy Jack's going to love the stretch. You guys mentioned the honest pace up front. I think he's going to rattle home. Noble Indy, who was third in the Risen Star, putting the blinkers on. I think that might help him focus a little bit. And then Bravazzo and Snapper Sinclair. Those are the 2 other horses that should run well based on their past performances. The real long shot to me would be Retirement Fund, who had no chance in the Southwest Stakes. He didn't like the mud. He got a bad trip. He could rebound at a price, but I think it's going to be a very formful running of the Louisiana Derby.
Well, actually, let me ask you one more just because they're related. Lone Sailor, part of the Tom Benson group. Just what do you think about Lone Sailor?
I think he's got a shot, too. I don't know if he can win the race, but I think he's got a chance to get a piece of it. He was second to Dark Templar, who's also in the Louisiana Derby back on February 19th. But there was no pace in that race. There will be plenty of steam, at least on paper, in this race. And, you can never discount Divine Intervention. And Lone Sailor's a nice little horse. I wouldn't be surprised to see him hit the board, but I would be a little bit surprised to see him get his picture taken.
Joe Christopek with the Fairgrounds. Louisiana Derby is on Saturday, the pinnacle of the racing season at the Fairgrounds. Joe, appreciate you jumping on, and I'm sure we will have you on the closer we get to the Kentucky Derby. Thanks, Joe.
All right, beautiful. Always a pleasure. Have a good one, guys.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Joe.
All right, that's Joe Christopek, and it's he spelled it out. It seems pretty clear-cut, and usually that means it's going to go awry, right, Jeff?
Yeah, I thought it was the same thing when I was out for the Risen Star, and you had a 21-1 shot win and a 41-1 shot run second. And I have no idea what happened in that race. I look at the Risen Star, and I just think that's a throw-out race because if you were at the track that day or you watched it on TV, none of the horses hardly changed positions. It was like they just ran around the track in a merry-go-round, and there wasn't much jockeying for position or change of positions. It was just a very bizarrely run race, and I'm throwing that race out as just kind of an anomaly and going to handicap from there. But I do think I will be surprised if Bravazzo, the horse that won the Risen Star at 21-1, if he's able to pull off back-to-back wins in this. But here's the big key for this, Larry and Clyde, as you all know.
I need every key humanly possible because I'm sure I will make a bet on this race, and it will just be blind. So take the blindfold off.
Well,
give me some guidance.
Not handicapping. I'm not giving you handicapping.
Why not?
We'll give that tomorrow. But I think it's what people need to know. The general sports fan is the winner of this gets 100 points in the Kentucky Derby point standings, and basically qualifies for the Kentucky Derby, but so does the second place horse. He'll get 40 points, and he will probably qualify, should almost certainly qualify for the Kentucky Derby. So there's 2 basic slots, potentially 3, to get in the Kentucky Derby field. So you mentioned Lone Sailor, a good live long shot. If he's able to get a piece of it, as Joe said, the Bensons might be, or Gail Benson and the Saints crew might be making a second trip to Louisville for the first Saturday in May.
And the last time they went was
2 years ago.
2 years ago?
2 years ago with Mo Tom and Tom's ready. And actually visited with Tom Amos, who we'll have on the show tomorrow, and he said that day, leading Mo Tom over with his family to the 150,000 throng of fans at Churchill Downs for the Kentucky Derby was the pinnacle of his racing career. To be able to lead a horse over in the greatest race in America with his family there by his side, and it was all thanks to Tom and Gail Benson and G&B Stables for allowing him to train a horse of that magnitude.
All right, let's take a break right here on the show. When we get back,
soccer.
Why would we be talking soccer?
Because Zlatan Ibrahimovic is going to sign with the LA Galaxy.
I'm glad Clyde
Breaking news!
I'm glad Clyde is zoned out on the show completely.
I totally did, but I was with our YouTubers, and we held it down.
Y'all held it down on YouTube. We'll hold it down on the air. But no, we will.
Babatunde!
Yeah, I don't know what any of that means either. But we will also hear from Dennis Lauscha. Some interesting sound bites, so we'll play some of that and give our thoughts on his thoughts throughout the rest of the show. And also, last night, baseball, Tulane got out to a lead, LSU took it down, and they have a couple of big series. Maybe we'll dive into some of that. And, oh, by the way, the NCAA tournament starts back up today. My national champion's out. Clyde's national champion is out. Jeff, yours is still in?
Mine's still in. The Duke Blue Devils, baby.
Wow, you went way out on a limb.
Chalk.
Duke. Wow. Never heard of them winning it before.
Gonna happen.
Again. Wow.
Just saying. I picked them. You all didn't.
Loyola Chicago's going all the way.
Losers.
Ramblers.
At least mine got out of the first round. Cincinnati.
College sports are dead to me.
Wow. Just because Louisville.
And they don't have a head coach anymore, so yeah, it should be.
All right, come on back for more shenanigans here on a Thursday. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app. Dunc and Holder.
With up to 16 chances a day, every weekday to win $1,000. A smart move would be to listen.
I'm a smart speaker, and I agree.
The keyword to text and win comes at the top of the hour.
The smart money is on.
Sports 1280. New Orleans.
Eric was way behind on his taxes.
I owed a lot of money to the IRS, almost $15,000. I tried to make payments.
The IRS wasn't satisfied with Eric's efforts, so they came after him full force.
They're coming to put a lien and a hold on all my income, my home, my car. I was just overwhelmed at what to do.
Then Eric called Optima Tax Relief.
When Optima Tax got involved, the calls would stop, the threats would stop. It was easy like 1, 2, 3.
Optima Tax Relief is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and their team of expert tax professionals took care of Eric's problem.
I owe $15,000, and now my debt is clean. I don't owe anything.
Take Eric's advice.
If you have a tax problem, you need to call Optima Tax now.
Call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-798-2477. 800-798-2477. 800-798-2477.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Aging gracefully isn't easy. Low T, thyroid issues, and weight gain all conspire against you. Enter Vitality Wellness Group. Vitality Wellness doctors are experts in hormone therapy, ED, and a host of aging issues. Call 504-309-4172 or visit NOLAHRT.com.
Message and data rates may apply.
Hi, I'm Frank Thomas, the Big Hurt. After I left baseball, I just couldn't stay in shape like I used to. Turns out, once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone, and that can make it harder to get into shape. So I got back into the game with Nugenics. I'm feeling stronger with a lot more energy and drive. You want to get back into shape? Get Nugenics. All you have to do is send one simple text.
Frank's right. Just text RULE to 321-321 to get a complimentary bottle of award-winning Nugenics, the #1 selling free testosterone booster at GNC. Its unique man-boosting formula is powered by Testofen, a patented key ingredient clinically researched to help a man feel stronger, leaner, more energetic, and more passionate.
And guys, she'll like the difference too.
Nugenics samples are not available in stores. To get your complimentary bottle, text RULE to 321-321. That's RULE to 321-321.
Hi, Eric Ashwood, celebrity chef Scott Craig of Katie. Scott, you have to be excited about Katie's expanded second floor seating and private dining rooms.
Yeah, but how about my vast local sports knowledge?
You know sports, but shouldn't we be talking about your award-winning Sunday brunch?
I'd rather talk about the Saints and the Pels.
How about your award-winning pizza or daily specials?
How about them Saints?
I admit you have a great take on local sports, but what about Katie's award-winning menu?
Okay, folks, I invite you to dine at Katie's. Eric and I don't have to brag about the food at Katie's. The food speaks for itself.
Katie's open 7 days a week in the heart of Mid-City at 3701 Opperfield.
This is Dunc and Holder on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
NCAA tournament cranks back up today. None of us have clean brackets. I don't think anyone in America has a clean bracket.
I haven't looked at mine in a week because I just don't care.
I never filled one out because I'm a loser, I guess.
Yeah, you are.
Look, when you're having to deal with free agency and all the other crazy stuff that's happened over the last week, yeah, it's certainly been something that's slipped my brain. And I paid so much attention to Louisiana teams, and then none of them got in. I felt like, oh, well, nothing for me to follow anymore. I'm over it. And Jeff zoned out when his peeps took a dive and never even got in.
Yeah, college sports are dead to me.
I mean, they're not dead.
They're not dead. They're not dead.
They're not dead. No chance.
No, I think it's going to be an exciting rest of the way, but the first couple rounds, I mean, there was great excitement, obviously, some huge upsets. The first 1 versus 16 upset in the history of the tournament. I mean,
men's tournament.
Yeah, men's tournament, sorry. But that was exciting. And, the fact that Virginia just continues every year to get in there with a high seed and gets wiped out.
Get waxed.
Yeah, it's kind of mind-boggling to me because Tony Bennett's such a good coach. They always have such a good team. They go through this incredible ringer of the ACC and invariably win it or come in second, and then they get in the tournament and get upset by somebody. I don't know if it's their style of play leads them to potentially be subject to an upset, but it's pretty disappointing if you're a Virginia fan to never even scratch the second weekend of the tournament. But this is when I think things start falling into form. Usually you have a couple upsets early on, and then things start going to form. That's why I think the Duke Blue Devils. I'll tell you, a sleeper team I like is Michigan. I mean, they're not really a sleeper, but that's a team that you got to watch out for. They're playing well right now. John Boehlein's a very good coach, and they play kind of that weird style, and they're tournament tested. So I think Michigan's got a shot to make the Final Four.
Well, at least LSU can have bragging rights over the 6:30 tip tonight. Michigan versus Texas A&M. LSU beat both of those schools.
Did they beat
A&M?
A&M?
Boy, that means,
yes.
They beat
boy,
A&M.
that means a lot right now while they're sitting at home after losing to Utah over the week.
Why are you poo-pooing this?
Because it's almost kind of like saying,
I remember the Saints. They beat Tampa Bay twice, and the year that happened, Tampa Bay won the Super Bowl. So that's cool. That was cool.
Saints didn't win the Super Bowl. It's basically like saying that you used to date the prom queen.
What's wrong with that?
It's like, oh, hey, I used to date her.
You're damn right.
So you're not dating her now. You're not dating the prom queen now. That's the thing.
Clyde,
you're not doing it.
You can live in the past. You once did it. So there you go.
When?
Well, you probably never did it. I don't know.
I like to look ahead in the future.
Yeah, exactly.
If I dated the prom queen, I'd be talking about it all the time.
My whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah, Clyde.
I'd have that on my resume.
Everybody dies famous in a small town, man.
Well, I come from a bigger town, unlike...
Yeah.
Shrimp and Petroleum Festival man over here.
Exactly.
It just stinks that...
Were you ever on the Shrimp and Petroleum Festival, like, court? Were you... There's a queen of that, right?
It stinks that... It really, really stinks that the two really Cinderella stories in Loyola, Chicago and Nevada have to play each other. In that, obviously, Loyola, Chicago, Sister Jean taking up, obviously, everybody's feeds. But, so Loyola, Chicago, and Nevada are also going tonight. That ought to be a really good game.
That's a 6 o'clock tip.
Yes.
That will be on CBS. And then that's in the South region.
Yes, and the winner of that will take on the winner of Kansas State and Kentucky.
Oh, Jeff's going to be fired up for that game.
Because everybody's talking about Kentucky and how they're going to be the dark horse to get to the Final Four, even though they don't deserve it.
Herbie Teope and I will be allied in our rooting against the Wildcats, the other Wildcats.
I'm about to say, you're going to be a Wildcat tonight, huh?
It's a battle of Wildcats.
Jeff, I was wondering if you were going to borrow some of Herbie Teope's gear. I think you should. You, Darren Sproles, Herbie, and Jordy Nelson can all hang out and cheer for Kansas State. Do it. Figure it out.
I wonder if Herbie's got a bet with Larry Warford.
He might.
There might be a little locker room
something on the.
He's got one with Boogie and AD.
Oh yeah, the Pelicats.
Remember those? And Rondo.
Remember those guys?
Pelicats.
Darius Miller.
The Pelicats are
the Pelicats.
They have a heavy Kentucky flavor right now. Look, Kentucky's got it. The path to the Final Four just laid out for them. I think I read
the
only team, the largest. I mean, the highest seed they would have to beat is what, a 7? Is that correct?
Yeah, 7, which is Nevada. Nevada is the 7. Loyola Chicago is the 11 seed.
And you know who leads Nevada is Eric Musselman, who is assistant coach under Johnny Jones. Johnny Jones on the LSU staff. And Eric Musselman is doing an incredible job with Nevada, and I think he's going to be the target of a lot of big programs. I'm surprised we haven't seen his name linked to, say, Louisville. I think the Pittsburgh job is open.
Yeah.
UConn, has UConn made a hire?
No, UConn hasn't made a hire, although I think
they're after Dan Hurley?
Yeah, Dan Hurley, Rhode Island. And
Tom Crean took the Georgia job, right?
Yeah, and from a report I read yesterday, the Xavier coach
that's Louisville's main target.
Top target, so.
Yeah, well, you think I don't know that?
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. Sorry, Jeff.
You think I don't know that?
I don't know that?
I mean, no, Chris Mack is he's been actually rumored, even before everything went down with Rick Pitino, he's been rumored to be the long-time eventual replacement at Louisville. He's got some kind of connection to the city, of course, right up the road in Cincinnati, and has done a great job with Xavier, and I think would be a great choice. If they could get Chris Mack at Louisville, it would be a boon, considering everything, the cloud over the program.
And no one's taking that Pitt job. I'm sorry. That Pitt job is going to be atrocious. Half their team is already asked to transfer. It's not going to be a great job to walk into right away after firing Stallings.
What do y'all think of Crean and Georgia? That seems like a weird fit to me. He's like a Midwestern guy.
I feel like that makes sense because he's going to a place where football now has kind of resurged at Georgia under Kirby Smart. So all the pressure isn't on him, or is it going to be on him to be really successful like it was in Indiana? I mean, it's not like we talk about Indiana football.
But he's a notable guy, too, and I think if you're going to get someone to come in and
who has at least some kind of
play at Georgia, a name would be nice.
It's similar. I didn't think Ben Howland was a good fit at State. He's kind of done a pretty good job at Mississippi State. He's elevated their program. They've been competitive. It's tough to go in there to like football country and kind of turn the fortunes around. But Georgia does have somewhat of a basketball history. I mean, we go back a ways to Dominique Wilkins, but they have had some very good programs. And I think you're right, Clyde. I mean, they've elevated the football program now to an elite status with Kirby Smart, and the rest of their athletic programs really gangbusters. So they've got to get basketball in line.
Yeah, Friday night you'll have Villanova taking on West Virginia, Purdue taking on Texas Tech in the East Regional. Then in the Midwest Regional, you got Kansas taking on Clemson, and the Dukies taking on the Cuse in Syracuse. So that's a battle of basketball blue bloods, and you got Kansas in there, and then Clemson randomly just pops up.
Clemson's like a weird team. I watch them a lot in the ACC. They're very defensive oriented. They've got a lot of good players, no like superstars, and they're just a tough out. They're a very tough team to play. And you're right. There's some blue bloods left.
Gonzaga.
And, you got Gonzaga, the Qs. You got obviously KU, Duke, Kentucky. And then you got the upset teams. You know, I'm eager to see how A&M does. Of course, with Billy Kennedy coaching that team. He's a New Orleans native, and they've got Robert Williams, the Shreveport area native, who's probably going to go on to the NBA. But he's another Louisiana kid that's leading that team.
All right, let's take a break right here on the show. When we get back, we will hear from Dennis Lauscha, Saints and Pelicans president. Had a chance to catch up with him at day one of the visitation for the passing of Tom Benson, and he had some interesting comments and some pretty firm comments on the state of the franchises and just where they belong right here in the city. So we'll hear from him in the next couple of segments. So come on back. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app. Duck and Holder.
Your forecast on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
This report is brought to you by Compassion International.
From the Fox 8 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Bruce Cashman.
for your Thursday. Another beautiful day. Mostly sunny skies. Temperatures in the mid to upper 60s. Tonight, overnight lows pretty chilly. Back to the 40s north and 50 south. And it looks like we wrap up the work week on a dry note into the weekend. Friday, mostly sunny at 75. We do begin to warm up Saturday and Sunday with partly cloudy skies at 80 to near 82. From the Fox 8 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Bruce Katz with your Weather Authority forecast.
You can't change the whole world, but you can be part of the change in the world for a child living in poverty by becoming a Compassion International child sponsor. You can choose a child to sponsor now at compassion.com/radio. That's compassion.com/radio.
Message and data rates may apply.
Hi, I'm Frank Thomas, the Big Hurt. After I left baseball, I just couldn't stay in shape like I used to. Turns out, once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone, and that can make it harder to get into shape. So I got back into the game with Nugenics. I'm feeling stronger with a lot more energy and drive. You want to get back into shape? Get Nugenics. All you have to do is send one simple text.
Frank's right. Just text RULE to 321-321 to get a complimentary bottle of award-winning Nugenics, the #1 selling free testosterone booster at GNC. Its unique man-boosting formula is powered by Testofen, a patented key ingredient clinically researched to help a man feel stronger, leaner, more energetic, and more passionate.
And guys, she'll like the difference too.
Nugenic samples are not available in stores. To get your complimentary bottle, text RULE to 321-321. That's RULE to 321-321.
You know, before Boost, our phone bill was obscene. I had to hide it from the kids. So we switched to Boost and got lines for the whole family with unlimited gigs for a much more family-friendly price. It's nice to have a phone bill that doesn't require parental controls.
Your family deserves better than scary phone bills. Get 4 lines for only $25 per line, each with unlimited gigs. Plus, get up to 4 free Samsung J7 perks with 6 months of Hulu where you can stream all the shows everyone is talking about. All on the super reliable and super fast nationwide network. Boost makes it easy to switch. Switching makes it easy to save.
Offer ends 4/16/18. First lines $100 a month. Lines 2 to 4 free. Requires 1 line to port in. Includes unlimited talk, text, and data with video streams at up to 480p. Music at up to 500 kilobits per second. Gaming up to 2 megabits per second. Data deprioritization during congestion. Free phones require port-in, purchase of eligible device, and activation on plans $50 or higher. Includes 6 months of access to 1 Hulu limited commercial plan per eligible line for new Hulu subscribers only. Additional restrictions apply. Terms at www.boostmobile.com/Hulu-terms. Coverage and offers not available everywhere. Restrictions apply.
If you have a Lowe's Advantage card, you can get an extra 5% off every day on items big or small. So you can save an extra 5% on a new coat of paint, updating appliances, replacing the flooring, and even save an extra 5% on little things like cleaning supplies, laundry detergent, and air filters. The big to-dos to the everyday essentials. You get an extra 5% savings every day when you use your Lowe's Advantage card. If you don't have one, apply today. All projects have a starting point. Start with Lowe's. Subject to credit approval and can't be combined with any other credit offers. Exclusions apply. See store for details. U.S. only.
Our All-Stars bring you the inside knowledge for your home teams. Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Today's day 2 of the Tom Benson visitation. Open to the public until 1 p.m. today. And then later on this afternoon will be private just for Saints players, former players, Pelicans, former Pelicans players, staff, and maybe some other folks. And then, of course, tomorrow will be the funeral, which will be at St. Louis Cathedral. Oh, by the way, the visitation is at Notre Dame Seminary on Carrollton Avenue. And yesterday, we had a chance to catch up with Dennis Lauscha. It's really the first time publicly he's spoken after the death of Tom Benson, who died a week ago, and had some passionate words. Look, he's someone who, Jeff, you know this, brought him kind of out of nowhere, had some faith in him, and brought him through the ranks. And all you have to do is look at the success of the franchise. Of course, you got to credit Tom Benson, but you can certainly credit Dennis Lauscha for getting everything in order business-wise, and business is booming with the Saints and Pelicans.
Yes, Jesuit grad, and
I won't hold that against Dennis.
Dennis is he and Mickey Loomis now are basically, well, they've been running the day-to-day operations of the Saints and Pelicans for some time, along with the rest of that executive team. And, you know, that executive team out there has been together now for the large part of 2 decades, and there's some advantages to that stability. And it's been a hectic week. I'm writing about that this today. That column should drop tomorrow. But in addition to them making a playoff push with the Pelicans, you're in the middle of free agency, NFL free agency, draft preparations obviously still going on, and this planning and organizing of the funeral services for Tom Benson is no small affair. I mean, we're talking about one of the largest funerals, probably. You and I discussed it yesterday. Probably the largest funeral service and celebration this city has seen since Archbishop Philip Hannon, I believe it was 2011 or 10. So all that together is made for a hectic last week or so for the executives involved. And Dennis Lauscha is as close, or was as close to Tom Benson as anybody out there, and he considered him a mentor, a friend, and a father figure, because Dennis's father passed away some time ago, and Tom Benson kind of stepped into the fore there for him.
Let's hear what Dennis has to say about how did Tom Benson touch his life.
Oh, wow. I mean, we could be here all day. I mean, I was a 28-year-old auditor who he took a chance with and took a flyer with and allowed me to be the CFO. And, I've grown over the last 20 years through his help and now the president. I mean, I said this the other day in an interview, and I truly mean it. There's that mantra of being a man for others, and he taught me to be a man for others and, be a man for other people in the community, be a man for those who are less fortunate, and hopefully, I'll continue on and try to be a man for others as he's taught me to be.
And look, yesterday, of course, probably hits hardest the most for Gail Benson, and she was front and center as soon as you walked in to Notre Dame Seminary, standing there greeting everyone who walked through the door. I'm talking every single person, and the plan is for her to do that today as well, and then she will certainly be the center of attention as far as the services and afterwards and everything that goes on with this. And it's it's something for someone who's grieving, and then she's also has to put on a stoic, brave face for the public, because she is going to be one of the faces, if not the face, of the franchise, given everything is hers. I mean, that's what it is at
She's
this
the
point.
owner.
Exactly.
She is officially the owner of the New Orleans Saints. I mean, there's no co-owner. There's no trust. I mean, it's Gail Benson. It's her teams, or both teams are under her watch, and she will have advice and counsel from the executive office, but it's her call, and she's heavily involved. She's been involved for a while now.
Yeah, we've seen it. I've seen it certainly firsthand in the last few owners' meetings. I'd say dating back to 2015, when you go to these owners' meetings, look, you bring it's the set of meetings when you bring your wife and you bring your kids. That's why it's always at this great locale, and it's either usually in Phoenix or somewhere in Florida. This year it's in Orlando at the Ritz-Carlton, of course, massive resort. And a lot of times, owners bring their wives, and this, that, and the other. Coaches bring their wives. GMs bring their wives. And Gail has gone from someone just going on a trip to, for the past 3 years, going into these meetings. And whether it's with Dennis or with Mickey, she has been in that, and that's what Tom Benson has certainly prepared her to do. But let's hear what Dennis had to say just about a question that I think everyone's probably thinking about. How has Gail handled all of this so far?
It's been very tough. It's the end of last week. His passing was very tough. Tough for everyone in the organization, but she's very strong. And we've been involved very much in planning the funeral, and she's been there. This has been a very busy week as the franchise goes. I mean, we had 5 basketball games in 6 days. We're in the middle of free agency. We had a big push with our other assets, Dixie Beer. I mean, this has been a very, very busy week, and she's been our leader, and she's rock solid, and she's there, and proud to be working with her as well. Mr. Benson, I know, would be proud of her too.
And one question that I asked, what about the owners' meetings? Given everything that's gone down, is she ready for the owners' meetings?
Dennis, what about going into next week with the owners' meeting? She's going to be full speed ahead to go with you guys there too?
That's the intent, full speed ahead, yes. And again, I would tell you that's what Mr. Benson wanted, to be perfectly honest with you. He wanted everything to continue to go, as he planned, and that's what we intend to do.
And it's not going to be any big surprise there because they've prepared for this. It's not like totally out of the blue. So she's been prepared now. Of course, Dennis Lausch is going to be there. Mickey Loomis is going to be there. And I know Mickey's part of one of the committees. And actually, one thing we haven't really talked about, which maybe we could talk about tomorrow, Sean Payton's part of the competition committee, and they've been debating on changing the catch rule. So we could probably go into some of that either tomorrow or going into next week when I'm in Orlando and I'm jumping on the show from there. But, this is not something that's going to be foreign to Gail. But now she's got to be more front and center than what she's been the last couple of years.
Yeah, and it's no different than what's happened in some of the other organizations around the league. Amy Strunk-Adams has taken over the Tennessee Titans following the death of Bud Adams a few years back. And there's a lot of change in ownership right now around the league. But she will have incredible support and counsel with Dennis Lauscha, Mickey Loomis, the entire executive team. So she's not going – there'll be a collaborative response by the Saints. And she's, like you said, she's been involved before. And, there's not a lot going on right now league-wide. It's going to be kind of a quiet owners meeting. So it's kind of a good time for her to step into this. There's not huge decisions to be made right off the bat. And the rest of the league knows – Roger Goodell certainly is aware and supports Gail Benson's ownership, and Jeff Pash was heavily involved, the counsel for the league, and is very close to the Benson family. So they'll all be working together on this, kind of bringing her into the fold as an NFL owner.
And one question that was asked to Dennis, how much will things change on Airline Drive?
I don't think very much will change at all. Even told Ron who asked that question, it's been as few as 5 minutes ago. She's, I think she feels very strongly about the leadership of our team. Feels very strongly about the leadership of our team. I think she'll continue to go that way. And look, she very much believes, as I very much believe. We're doing a lot of things very, very good, but there's always room for improvement. We'll keep on trying to be better, and that's what we're trying to do.
Apologize for the wind. I can't stop the wind, and I'm recording it on my phone. But no, one of the points that Dennis brought up that maybe got lost in that was that fans, when they walk in, are asking her questions about the team. It's sorry for your loss, but people are bold. They're asking what's going to happen. And look, I think that's inquiring minds want to know whether you think it's appropriate to do it at a funeral. Whatever, it's still getting done, and look, she's having to stand up there and answer those questions to the public, anyone who walks up, and still have to grieve for the death of her husband.
Well, she understands the position she's in and the position of being the owner of the New Orleans Saints. It's a high-profile, very public title that she now has and a responsibility. It's different than a lot of other teams in the NFL. It's just different. The New Orleans Saints are so embedded and involved in the community here. They're part of the cultural fabric of the city. It's a lot like the Green Bay Packers we've talked about. I would imagine Dan Rooney was very similarly in a similar position in Pittsburgh. So they understand that. When they go out to eat, they understand they're going to have a lot of people coming up, and it's part of the job, if there's such a job. And she is going to be like this for the rest of her life. There's no doubt.
And it's even more unique in that they don't just own the Saints. They own the Pelicans as well. And in other markets, say the Rooneys you're talking about, at least Pittsburgh, they don't own the Penguins and they don't own the Pirates. There's at least other teams out there. This is far more unique. And look, the Saints used to be the only game in town, and people gravitated so much to the Saints already. Then B, when the Hornets are purchased by Tom Benson, become the Pelicans, and they have both, it's an even bigger responsibility that's out there for them. And, yeah, Jeff, it's one thing that if this were just Gale and they didn't have trusted confidants around them. They've trusted Mickey. They've trusted Dennis, Greg Bensel, you name it, everyone that's there, currently still there. They've trusted them with everything. And I really find one of the most fascinating statements that Tom Benson ever told me. It was a very broad question when I had a chance to chat with him a couple of years ago. I said, what's the most important decision that you made for this franchise? And he says, elevating Mickey Loomis to GM. And that happened when, Jeff? 2002?
Correct.
And Mickey we've seen this thing blossom with all of these people involved. So, look, I'm confident that it's going to be fine. I'm sure you're confident that things are going to run as smoothly as they can.
Well, I mean, frankly, when they say this, nothing's going to change, it's kind of been running this way for the last year, 2 years. I mean, Tom Benson's health has declined. He's still been out there working every day, which is incredible for an 90, 89-year-old man in bad health to some degree. But the day-to-day operations were being run by Dennis Lauscha and Mickey Loomis and this executive team. And so that's why they're saying it's probably not going to change much, because it's been operating this way for a while now.
Absolutely. All right, let's take one final break right here on the show. I've got one more soundbite we'll play at the other end of the break, and to me, I think it's probably the one that Saints and Pelicans fans want to hear most. It's about the future and the stability of the franchises. We'll hear from Dennis, and then we'll give our perspective on his thoughts coming back. One more segment. So coming back on a Thursday here, Sports 1280, NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app, Dunc and Holder.
The Pelicans' final push to the playoffs is on News Talk 95 WRNO. And then join our Sports 1280 New Orleans All-Stars for insight, analysis, and inside info as the Pels do it big.
A 2018 GMC Terrain for under 20 grand? Now that's how you start a legacy. Legacy Buick GMC in Slidell. 2018 Terrain, $19,998. Yes, $19,998. The new 2018 GMC Acadia is now only $25,998. $25,998 for Acadia. Log on to LegacyBuickGMC.com. GMC, we are professional grade. On select models, see dealer for details.
Before Boost, our phone bill was obscene. I had to hide it from the kids. So we switched to Boost and got lines for the whole family with unlimited gigs for a much more family-friendly price. It's nice to have a phone bill that doesn't require parental controls.
Your family deserves better than scary phone bills. Get 4 lines for only $25 per line, each with unlimited gigs. Plus, get up to 4 free Samsung J7 perks with 6 months of Hulu, where you can stream all the shows everyone is talking about. All on the super reliable and super fast nationwide network. Boost makes it easy to switch. Switching makes it easy to save.
Offer ends 4/16/18. First line's $100 a month. Lines 2 to 4 free. Requires 1 line to port in. Includes unlimited talk, text, and data with video streams at up to 480p. Music at up to 500 kilobits per second. Gaming up to 2 megabits per second. Data deprioritization during congestion. Brief phones require port-in, purchase of eligible device, and activation on plans $50 or higher. Includes 6 months of access to 1 Hulu limited commercial plan per eligible line for new Hulu subscribers only. Additional restrictions apply. Terms at www.boostmobile.com/Hulu-terms. Coverage and offers not available everywhere. Restrictions apply.
Hello, I'd like to deposit this to checking. Fate is a fickle master. What? The future is uncertain. Okay, and what's my account balance? The horizon is cloudy. I see a long, treacherous voyage filled with great peril. Look, can I just get a deposit slip or something?
A fortune bank teller. Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
I see a yellow-eyed serpent and a low APR.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
This Saturday, March 24th at the Shrine on Airline at 3 p.m., Tyrann Mathieu launches the first annual Tyrann Mathieu and Friends Kickball Classic. The evening will feature a celebrity kickball game with current and former NFL athletes, notable LSU alumni, and numerous New Orleans natives and celebrities from the sports and entertainment industry. Proceeds from this event benefit the Tyrann Mathieu Foundation. That's Saturday, March 24th at the Shrine on Airline from 3 to 5 p.m. For more information or to get tickets, go to TyrannMathieuKickballClassic.com.
Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org.
Dunc and Older Now. Eric Asher next at noon on Sports 1280 New Orleans.
Jeff is jamming.
Thank you, Dave.
You are welcome as always.
That's
never
Wolf's
heard this
Den.
before. This is
Yeah,
awesome.
That's the group that Dolores O'Riordan was working with she was going to provide the vocals for that cover of Zombie, but literally was on her way to meeting them to do it. She died.
Man.
And they were like, they thought about not releasing the track because they wanted her on it. They didn't want to be disrespectful to her, but from the Cranberries camp, they said that this is one of their favorite covers of that song.
No, it's strong.
That is way
they've
strong.
done, and they said no, completely do this. And then Wolf's Den said all the proceeds from that song are going to go to Dolores' children.
So there wasn't Nickelback, right? Claude's ready to stab me, even mentioning that. But I'm right? Not Nickelback?
It's not Nickelback. It's Wolf's Den.
Well, it's not Wolf's Den either. It's Bad Wolves.
Bad Wolf? I'm sorry. I thought it was Wolf's Den.
It's the Katzensteins.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I'm sure he'll love that. Oh, boy.
All the rest of that was true, except the name.
Clyde's got everything except the name right.
the name.
I mean, he had a lot of details, so I would have believed him. You could have called it the Mouseketeers.
This whole time, just making stuff up. We assume he's right. Anybody fact check?
The Copenhagen turn.
Fact checker.
The Copenhagen turn. All this stuff about rugby.
Are you sure about the Copenhagen turn?
Is the Shrimp and Petroleum Fest even real?
Oh my God!
Is Morgan City even real?
We have to
Are you real?
Morgan City is like Wakanda. You guys will never be allowed into it.
Whatever is real, we
Morgan
know
City
he's
forever.
top of the box.
We sure
Babatunde.
We sure your name is Clyde? We sure?
Can we get on with this?
He's in the
please?
witness protection
Like
program.
I said, all the rest of that stuff is true. The name, I read it very quickly. I listened to the song. It's very good. They're going to donate the proceeds to this woman's children. It's a very nice thing that they're doing.
All right, do it for the kids.
But
All
they're
right.
going on tour with like Five Finger Death Punch and a couple other guys.
We sure the name of that band is right?
I was about to say.
Okay.
I'll Google it.
I'm done here. Google it, Dave.
As long as
Google
we
it.
can get Nelson and maybe
See what I'm saying? Why do you
Hanson
ruin
to
it?
come back.
Why do you have to go to the blonde ones, man?
Because I mean,
there are other blonde.
They're pretty hair, pretty. Anyway, all right.
You choose stability?
Exactly. Thank you, David. Stanislausha, the most important question that I know plenty of fans around here, around the globe, are wondering, what is the future and stability of the team? This is Dennis Lauscha.
I go back. I mean, I think we're on rock solid footing. I mean, to be honest with you, you have a person who owns a team who's from New Orleans, who believes in New Orleans, believes in the people in New Orleans. I could not even fathom those two teams not being here in New Orleans when she's the owner. I'm the president of the company is from New Orleans. I couldn't fathom these two teams not being in New Orleans. Again, Mr. Benson could never fathom that. I mean, most of the executive staff are all from New Orleans. I mean, we believe that these franchises should be in New Orleans. And to be quite honest with you, I mean, we've been pretty darn successful. I mean, you know, you look at this is a small market, but it supports two NBA and NFL franchises. And thanks to our fans and thanks to this community, it supports them very, very well. And, you know, one thing Benson told me is, you know, just because we're a small market doesn't mean anything else. We kick butt, whether it's the business side or the football field, or basketball court. And we continue to do that. I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, I understand the question. Sure. But I can't imagine we couldn't be on more rock solid ground today than we are.
Sorry for the wind again.
Wow,
but
sounds like we're in a hurricane.
It was quite windy out there, even though it was a beautiful day. But look, people are wondering that because, of course, the thing that was never even mentioned throughout the interview was the potential for the 3 Rs to maybe come back and challenge some of these rulings in court. I don't think it's clear that if we know that they're going to do this or not. And I could tell you, Jeff and I both confirmed that the 3 Rs, Renee, Rita, and Ryan, did have their own private visitation of Tom Benson.
Wednesday night, I believe. Wednesday night out at Lakeview and Lake Lawn, I guess it is. And, that was something that was arranged between the 2 camps, and I think made perfect sense and was the right thing to do.
Yes, but look, they're heavily confident, and I know there was a report out there from Jason La Canfora saying they're going to have to sell the Pelicans or sell the Saints or something for taxes. I don't know.
Yeah,
that was the Pelicans.
That was I don't know what Jason was reporting on that because Jason's a good reporter, but that seemed a little off on that one. And let me interject real quick on a little different note, but I think something of interest to our listeners is the health of Steve Gleason. I've had a chance to talk with some of his family members, and they're hoping Steve is released today from Ochsner Medical Center. He's been in since late last week. He was not feeling well and had a fever. And, when you're in the condition that Steve is in, you have to check on these things quickly. And he was admitted to Ochsner Medical late last week, and he's actually been improving daily, and they're hoping he gets a chance to go home today. I know some people were concerned about his health, but don't be. I mean, obviously, he's a beloved figure here in New Orleans, and a lot of people are interested in how he's doing. But he had to unfortunately spend his 41st birthday in the hospital on Monday, and a camp went out of a bunch of his friends and family and celebrated his 41st birthday with him on Monday night. But knowing Steve, he's ready to get home because he does not want. No one wants to be in the hospital, but Steve Gleason is a free spirit as anybody I know, and the last place he wants to be is in the hospital anytime, much less his birthday.
No doubt about it. But look, again, just if you're wondering, Tom Benson visitation that will end in an hour at Notre Dame Seminary. So if you want to get out there and pay your respects and just pick up go say hello to Gail Benson and some of the Saints brass. You also get a prayer card if you like, sign the guest book, and kind of be documented that you went. You be able to do that for the next hour. Then there'll be a more private visitation for Saints employees, former Saints players, current Saints players, Pelicans, and maybe some other dignitaries, I guess for lack of a better term. They'll be there this afternoon, so don't try to go then because you won't be let in. And then tomorrow is the funeral mass at St. Louis Cathedral, and I think the private burial will be at Metairie Cemetery.
Metairie Cemetery, yeah.
Yes. And then it should be quite a scene tomorrow, as I reported this morning. I mean, there's going to be 5 current or former sports commissioners expected to be at the services. You're going to have NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell and NBA Commissioner Adam Silver. Their predecessors, Paul Tagliabue and David Stern, along with David Baker, who we've had on the program. You just had him on last week.
Yes.
Former commissioner of the Arena Football League and the president of the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, great show. If you missed any of it, sports1280.com, NOLA.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube page. Clyde will have some updates later on NOLA.com. I want to thank Todd Masson, our outdoors guru from NOLA.com and Times-Picayune. Also, Joe Christofek from the Fairgrounds Talk Louisiana Derby. So we have another great show coming up tomorrow. But after us, Eric Asher from noon to 2, Chris Gordy 2 to 4, Corey Johnson from 4 to 6. So come on back for a Friday episode here. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app. Dunc and Holder.
Here's today's tax tip. Tax experts say if you plan on moving from a regular job to being self-employed, it's important to recognize you're going to be living in a different tax world. Chief Tax Officer for Jackson Hewitt Tax Service Mark Stever says tax returns for self